Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be teaching you how you can make this monster leaf into this super cute and beautiful lacy monster leaf granny square. So this was something that was requested during my previous video in the comment section, so I really hope that this will help you and you will be able to create some fun leafy monstera plant type of crochet creations. And as always, I have made sure that I'm going into as much detail as possible with every single stitch and step and round and everything else to ensure that everyone is able to replicate this granny square. Besides that, I have also prepared a written version of this pattern and you can find it down below in the description box, and of course your support will be super appreciated. But now, without further ado, let's jump into it. Here are the materials that we will be using. Here I have two colors of cotton yarn, green and white, which is for ply. You will of course need a crochet hook, and for this project I'm using 3.5mm hook, and you will also need scissors. And here's the final monstera granny square, which I'm going to teach you in this video. So let's jump into it, and we will first be starting by creating the monstera leaf. So our first step is to create a slip knot, and for that I'm just grabbing my yarn here and kind of making a loop like this, and then twisting it and pulling yarn through the loop that we have to kind of create a knot here. And as you can see, the loop here is quite big, so I'm just grabbing my crochet hook and attaching it to the hook to kind of create the size that fits our hook. And this is our slip knot, so now we can proceed further with doing chains. And for our first step, in total we have to do 12 chains, so just grabbing yarn and pulling it through this loop that we have, that's one chain, and then just repeating for 12 times in total. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12. So these are our 12 chains that we had to do for our first step. And then we can move further. So our first step is basically to skip this first chain and work into the second one, and that's where we are going to do one single crochet. So for single crochet, just go through this stitch or chain, grab yarn and pull it up to have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through both loops like this. So that's one single crochet. Then in the next chain here we are going to do 1/2 double crochet. So for that, yarn over, go through the chain, grab yarn and pull it up to have 3 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like this. After that, we just have to chain 1 like this, and then we are going to do 1 single crochet inside this 1/2 double crochet. So I'm just going through this stitch here in the middle, then grabbing yarn, pulling it up, and then pulling through 2 as we did for single crochet. And then after that we just have to chain 1 like this. And then our next step is to do 2 single crochets in the next 2 chains here that we have here at the base. So I'm just going through the first one and doing a single crochet there, and then another one in the next one here like this. Then after that, our next step is to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And at this point we have to attach these chains here to the first piece that we already did. So I'm just removing my hook and making this loop a little looser, and then we just have to count 3 starting from here. So 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to go through this 3rd stitch here that we have here with my hook like this, and then grabbing this loop that we have here and just pulling it through. And in this way we are going to attach it to the very beginning that we did stitches in the beginning here. And then after that we just have to chain 1 like this, and then our next step is to do 1/2 double crochet inside this space here. So doing 1/2 double crochet in there, After that we have to do 1 double crochet also in the same space. So for double crochet you have to yarn over, go through this space here, grab yarn and pull it up to have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over again and pull through remaining 2. So that's 1 double crochet. After that do another half double crochet like this, and then our last step is to do 3 single crochets inside the same space. So 1, 2 and 3 like this. So we have finished this first piece, and now we can attach it to the main base that we have in the chains here. So first we have to skip 1, and then in the following one we are doing 1 single crochet. So I'm just going through that one and doing a single crochet in there like this. This is how it looks where we are at this point. After that we again have to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then I'm again making this loop looser and counting 4 stitches here from this side. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So going through this 4th one and again pulling this chain of 5 through this space and chaining 1 again. And now we will have to do some stitches inside here in this chain of 5 space. So first I'm starting by doing 1 half double crochet, so completing this stitch in here, then doing 3 double crochets inside the same space. So this is 1, doing another 1, 2 and the 3rd one like this, and then it's left for us to do 1 more half double crochet and then 3 single crochets. So 1, 2 and 3 like this, and then again we have to attach it to the main base, and first we are skipping 1 and then going into the next one and in there doing 1 single crochet like this. So now we have skipped 1 chain and done a single crochet in the next one, and after that we can proceed with the next bit, and for that we have to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and again pulling this loop a little longer, and then we are counting 5 stitches from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and going through this 5th one like this, then grabbing this loop and pulling it through to attach it. So now it's there, and then we just have to chain 1 like this. After that our next step is to do 5 double crochets inside the same space. So starting to work on those. This is 1, then 2, 3, 4 and 5. After that we have to do 1 half double crochet, so doing that, and then again we have to do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2 and 3 like this. And now again we just have to attach it to the base. So first I'm skipping 1 and then doing a single crochet inside the next chain that we have there. So just doing that 1 single crochet in here, and as you can see now it's attached and we can proceed further with the next bit. And for that again we just have to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and again making this loop looser or longer, and then counting 5 stitches here from this bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just going through this one with our hook, again grabbing this loop and pulling it through, and then just chaining 2 in this time, and after that doing 5 double crochets. So let's do that. This is 1, then the second one, 3rd one, 4th
and 5th. Once that's done, we have to do 1 half double crochet, and after that again 3 single crochets. So 1, 2 and 3 in here. So the final bit is completed. Now we just have to attach it to the last chain that we have here, and we are just going through that one and doing a single crochet in there like this. So now we have finished half of it, and our next step for this bit is to basically get back to the very beginning where we started, and to do that we just have to do single crochets on the other side of these chains. So let's start doing that. We basically just have to do 1 single crochet inside every single bit that we have here, and it's very important to count along the way to make sure that you are doing the right amount of chains or single crochets that we need, because it might look a little tricky because it doesn't really look as a regular stitch. So just going through again this first one where we already have 1 single crochet, but in this case we are just doing it on the other side, so it's kind of flipped. So that's 1, then going through the next bit, 2, then here we have a little bit trickier space, 3, 4, 5, this is our 6th, and then in here just doing the 7th one, 8, 9, 10, 11th here like this, and then 12th one goes here at the very tip, so like that. Now we have done 12 single crochets on this side, and we can flip our work, and now basically all we have to do is just repeat the same steps that we did on this side. So basically you can just turn the video back from the very beginning and just repeat what we did in there. So here I am at the very end, so now I just have to connect this last bit to the base here, and here I have my very last single crochet stitch from the base here. So just going through that one and doing a last single crochet like this, and now we are done on both sides, so we can actually cut off the yarn. And before we do so, we just have to chain 1, pull the loop looser like this, then we can grab our scissors and cut it off, and as it's cut off we can just tighten it by pulling it here like that. And we are done with this leaf here, as you can see. Now last step is really just to weave in these loose ends so it looks nice and pretty, and for that I'm normally just using my crochet hook, then just grabbing yarn and pulling it through like random bits from the back side. You can choose whatever side you wish and whatever stitches you want to loop it through. So just make sure that it's consistent and at the end it looks nice and all of these loose yarn pieces are not visible. So just do that and then we are done. So this is how it looks at the end once it's finalized, and if we want to measure it, it is around 7 centimeters in this way, and here it's approximately 7 to 8. So that's approximate size if using these type of materials that I used. So once your monstera leaf is ready, we can move further and make it into a granny square, and for that I will be using this white color. So let's get started. Our first step is to basically attach yarn to this monstera leaf, and we will be attaching it here in the, basically from the middle here you have to count the 5th stitch here, and in the back loop this is where you will be attaching this yarn. So I'm just kind of pulling it through and then making a secure knot to ensure that it actually stays there and we have it here in place, and then we can get started. So first our step is to pull up a loop and then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then inside the same space we will be doing 1 double crochet. So I'm just doing that like this, and then we can move further, and for that we first have to chain 2 again, so 1 and 2. And now we will be adding here our first corner, which will be coming here from this very middle in here. As you can see, the space between these stitches is quite big, so for that we will be using or doing 1 double treble crochet. So for that you have to yarn over 3 times like this, then go through this middle part in here, approximately in the middle, grab yarn and pull it through to have 5 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through pairs of 2. So this is 2, 3 and 4, like this. After that we have to chain 5 to kind of create a corner. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And after that we have to add another double treble crochet here inside the same space. So for that we have to yarn over 3 times, then going through this same stitch, grabbing yarn and pulling up to have 5 loops on our hook, then yarning over and pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through 2, that's 2 times, 3rd time and the 4th time, like this. So now we have kind of created our first corner in here, and after that we just have to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we again have to count 5th stitch here from this middle part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inside this 5th one, kind of like in a back loop here as well, we will do 1 double crochet. So I'm just doing that like this. After that we are again chaining 2, 1 and 2, and right after this round bit here we will do 1 single crochet here on this back loop that we have here. So I'm just doing that like this, and after that again we are just chaining 2, and then we have reached our next corner, and we will kind of have to add it in here after this round piece of our monster here. So for that again we have to do 1 double treble crochet, so I'm yarning over 3 times and then going through this kind of like a back loop in here, grabbing yarn and then pulling through pairs of 2 like that. So now this stitch is finalized, and after that we are chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is for our corner, and then in the same stitch here we have to do 1 treble crochet inside this same space. So I have yarned over twice and then just going through this same stitch and doing a treble crochet. Here you go. Once that's done, again chaining 2, 1 and 2, and right after this one here we are adding 1 double crochet. So again going through the back loop in there like that, and then again chaining 2, and right after the next one here we are adding 1 half double crochet. So again I'm just going through a back loop in there and pulling through all 3 loops. So this is how far we are, and now we have kind of reached this tip here where we have this 1 loop at the very top, and this is where we are going to add another corner. So first I'm just chaining 2, and then inside here we will be adding treble crochet. So again yarning over twice, going through this loop, grabbing yarn and pulling up to have 4 loops, yarning over and pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through remaining 2, like that. After that chaining 5 for the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then adding another treble crochet inside the same space. So here we have finalized another corner. So as you can see, we have now done our granny square basically for half of our monstera on this side. So now we just have to mirror everything on the other side. So let's start doing that. So our first step again is to chain 2, 1 and 2 like this, and then in this following stitch here we will be doing 1 half double crochet. After that, again we are chaining 2, 1 and 2, and then we are doing 1 double crochet here on this stitch that we have here. So I'm just going through the back loop in there. Like this. This is our double crochet, and then again chaining 2. And after that we have reached our next corner, which we have to add in here. So for that we have to do 1 treble crochet first. So I'm just adding in that. This is treble crochet, and then chaining 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And right after that we have to add double treble crochet, so yarning over 3 times and then completing the stitch inside the same space where we did our treble crochet. So I'm just doing that in here like that. So this is our another corner completed, which is basically our last one. And after that we can chain 2, so 1 and 2, and then we have to add single crochet here on this stitch in the back loop in there. So I'm doing that like that, and then we just have to chain 2, 1 and 2, and now we have basically finalized our first round for establishing this granny square. So now we can connect it, and we will do it by doing a slip stitch here in the first double crochet. So for that I'm just going through this first double crochet with my crochet hook, grabbing yarn and pulling it through, and then pulling this yarn through the loop that I already had like that. And as you can see, we have now connected this first round here. And as you might have noticed, it's a little bit tight in here, but don't worry about it, because you just have to trust the process here. So if you feel like it's too tight, what I normally do is that I just pull these stitches to make sure that they are a little bit looser. So just do that and help these stitches to become more in a square shape. As you can see, it now looks a lot more like a square shape. So this will help us a lot now with the next round, where we will add some volume to make it more like a square, as well as to make it a little bit bigger and have more of like a established shape. So let's start working on the second round, and that's actually going to be a very simple one. So what we will do is that we will add just double crochets all the way around on top of every single stitch, as well as in these spaces where we did chain of 2. So let's start doing that. So first we just have to get started, and for that I'm just chaining 3. And in this case it counts as 1 double crochet, so we can right away proceed further with this next space. And in there, because we chain 2, we are going to add 2 double crochets. So I'm just going to do that. This is 1, and then adding a second one as well. So now we have reached our first stitch here. So on top of that we are also adding 1 double crochet like this, and then we have reached our first corner. So in the corners we are going to do 3 double crochets, chain of 3, and then another 3 double crochets inside the same space. So starting with the double crochets, this is the first one, adding a second one, and then the third, and after that we just have to chain 3, so 1, 2 and 3. So this kind of helps our corner to turn, and then we just have to add another 3 double crochets. So this is 1, then second and third. So now this corner is finalized and we have reached this next stitch. So on top of that, again adding 1 double crochet, and then we have this space of chain of 2. So in there we are just doing 2 double crochets. So this is 1 and 2 like this. Again we have reached the next stitch, so doing a double crochet on top of that, chain of space, so 2 double crochets in there, 1 and 2, another, we have our next stitch. So on top of that I'm just adding double crochet, and then again we have our space of chain of 2, so 1 and 2 double crochets inside there, and then we have reached this corner. So first we have to just finalize this first stitch that we have here, so doing a double crochet there, and then in the corner, just as we did here on this side, we have to do 3 double crochets, chain of 3, and again 3 double crochets. So let's start doing that. So 3 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then the third one. After that, chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3, and now adding 3 more in the same space. So 1 and 2, and then we have the third as well, like this. This corner is now also finalized, and then we are just basically doing the same all over this square, or on top of every single stitch. So what you just have to do, just repeat the same process that I just showed you. In the spaces that we have of chain of 2, that's where you add 2 double crochets, and on top of every single stitch that we did, that's where you add 1 double crochet on top of that. And in the corners, just as I showed you now, it's 3 double crochets, chain of 3, and 3 double crochets, all of them inside the same space. So just keep on repeating these stitches and these steps, and I will meet you back again at the very end of this round once we are able to connect it. So here I have done all 4 corners, as well as I have reached the very beginning here with the chain of 3 that we did in the very start. So now we can actually connect this round in the same way as we did it during the previous round. So for that, I'm just going to use and do a slip stitch inside the third chain that we have here. So I'm just going through that third chain, grabbing yarn and pulling it through, and then pulling it through the loop that we already had, like this. And now it's connected, so now we can actually fasten off. So for that, first I'm just chaining 1, then making this loop a little bit looser or longer, and then just grabbing my scissors and cutting it off. And as it's cut off, we can just tighten it by pulling this loose piece of yarn here. And now our granny square is actually finalized. As you can see, we have established a nice square shape. It might look a little bit wonky, so for that, what I normally just do is I kind of pull it to adjust the size and the shape. And if you wish, you can also just block them out to kind of make more concrete square shape. But if you pull it just a couple of times, eventually it will take the square shape very nicely. And just to measure it here, approximately it measures around 10.5 centimeters. And it also has this square shape, so it's equal on both sides. And if you wish, you can easily just repeat this last round by adding double crochet on top of every single stitch. And here in the corners you would have to do 2 double crochets, chain of 3, and 2 double crochets again. So feel free to do that to add volume. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to also create multiple squares of this pretty monstera, and then you can kind of connect them together and create some bigger crochet creations with this super cute pattern. And if you do so, then just feel free to share them with me. But yeah, that was basically it.
I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's going to be helpful for you in case you're looking to create some Monstera Leaf granny squares. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out in the comment section below, and I will try to help you from there. And if you did enjoy this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and if you're new here, please subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye!